Hey preppers, welcome to the next edition of Goshen Prepping. Thanks for joining us. Of course, we want to prepare for all contingencies, including an invasion, which, is a very real possibility the way our military is going. And how do we prepare for such a thing? I mean, who do we take these lessons from? Like, what, Ready.gov or FEMA? Give me a break. We can actually take lessons from people who are really, truly in that situation right now, who are fearing or preparing for an invasion, such as the Taiwanese. In Taiwan, they put out a pamphlet to prepare their citizens for an invasion, and it certainly is lessons that we can use to be able to prepare for such an event that may take place here in the United States. From Taipei Times, the Ministry of National Defense in Taiwan updates their Civil Defense Handbook to provide more practical information than the widely criticized version originally published in April last year. It outlines safety measures for civilians during an air raid, major fire, building collapse, power outages, water shortages, shortage of essential goods, and basic survival skills, and offering emergency hotlines. And this is great, by the way, information coming from, per se, the front lines, think of it that way, so we can prepare for the same kind of problems that may happen here on our soil. And pictures of it, they put it in like some kind of cartoon fashion, so they even know what an enemy looks like, by the way, as far as information of a uniform. It's very interesting. And then here's the booklet itself, obviously all written in Taiwanese, which I do not speak that or read that. But you know what? That's okay, because the Taiwan News puts out some of that same information in English for us. Let's go through it. And I mean, really, let's go through it. Take a list, get your pen and paper out so you can take notes, because these same kind of things we should be preparing for and stockpiling as well. First off, essential items. Number one, a backpack. And there are so many backpacks to choose from, aren't there? That's okay. In a few days, I'm going to put out a video that's going to outline more of this and some of the things that we'll want to stockpile as well. Adequate food provisions for individual use. Water, food, canned food, or easy to preserve foods. And canned food, obviously, is fantastic. It's ready to eat right out of the can. It's sterile and even has full meals right there for you. And it's inexpensive. You could go with freeze-dried foods, which honestly is better for a backpack, but obviously you're going to be paying the price for the difference. Items to maintain warmth. I've talked about this extensively recently. Sleeping bag, blanket, warm clothes, and a tent. A tent does very well to help retain heat. Flashlight with batteries. I like to use a rechargeable flashlight. Copies of important documents, ID cards, registrations, health insurance, etc. And a document bag to hold those that's fireproof and waterproof. I'll link some of these items below in case you need to pick some up. Personal medical supplies. Your prescriptions for diseases, first aid medicine, copies of prescriptions. And if you haven't been there, also linked below is our website, which I have a full packet of basically what you can do to prepare, not to mention a whole bunch of checklists, including medical checklists of things you may want to consider, literally print it out and check it off so you have everything ready in case there's an emergency. I think they messed up on their bullet points here. Cotton gloves, a whistle, survival tools, knives, can openers, a steel cup, steel bowl, mobile phone, radio with a battery, or a crank radio that has all that for you. Not to mention it can actually charge up your phone and has solar power. Again, I'll link it below. Other items, personal hygiene supplies, some toilet paper, wet wipes and towels, small denominations of cash and change. I always say a couple $100 if you have it. A wireless power bank. These are always handy to keep your phone going. This one could be vital. A lightweight raincoat, something you can pack away but also put it on so you don't get soaked. And I would add on having a hat of some sort and extra socks too. Infant supplies like diapers, milk powder, feeding bottles. Adult and feminine hygiene products, absolutely. Backup keys for possibly your house or car. And I think they mean have extras you can keep in the bag so you don't have to grab yours on the way out as you evacuate. And dry pet food. Dry pet food's a good idea, obviously when to take care of your pets, but I think canned pet food may work better. Again, canned food is heavy for your bag, etc., but it's also sterile and will last far longer than dry food will. They said to date your backpack and inspect it every 6 months to make sure there's nothing damaged, missing, or out of date, such as making sure you have fresh batteries. And like, for example, the charging bank, the battery pack you have in there is all charged up as well. And now they're saying if you need to basically shelter in place or bug in, take your refuge at home. Water and electricity shortages may come about, not to mention food shortages. In addition, having food and drinking water for more than 3 days. Come on now, we're preppers. We want to have far more than 3 days of supplies at hand. A small hand crank generator, backup power bank, or portable solar charger. Yep, and many to choose from. My favorite one, the big one, by the way, is a BLUETTI that can keep my freezer going. You may want to seriously consider saving up for one of those. It could be a lifesaver. And a first aid kit, including commonly used medicines, or what we'd call over-the-counter medications. Yeah, very good. And it's interesting, honestly, the amount of lists and everything we put out on this channel far surpasses what the Taiwanese are putting out for their citizens there. And there's millions of preppers there, by the way, getting ready for or preparing for a Chinese invasion. For us, the United States, an invasion is a possibility as we see World War III looming. And notice they put a lot of these things into a backpack form, which I urge you to do as well, because you'll never know if you have to evacuate, if there is an invasion, or if you have some bombed areas coming towards you, or possibly some radiation fallout. Who knows? I know we like to bug in and make it so our house is a refuge. I'd highly recommend that. But you need to also prepare and stay flexible and bug out if you need to as well. Lots of things we could put on this list. Again, my list I have listed below. A link to our website has all kinds of checklists that you might want to consider having. I would highly suggest you pick that up. It'll help you out drastically. We've had hundreds of people on this channel download that and utilize it and love it too. Anyways, what would you put on your personal list? What would you add to it? Put it in the comments below. I'd like to see it. Let's get a conversation going so we can all be ready for a possible or maybe even a probable invasion of the United States. I don't even want to think about that. But anyway, thanks for watching and following along.